Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel Sunday Spoon. My name is Samira and today we're cooking a soft, homemade cake with a caramel style filling. I decided to make this cake because I really wanted something sweet and comforting, a dessert that doesn't feel rushed or complicated. It is something you can bake slowly, talk while cooking, and just enjoy the process instead of chasing the perfection. This is one of those easy recipes where you don't have to stare at the screen the whole time. You can listen, cook along, or even just keep it on in the background. Let's start with the dough. The first thing we need is a big bowl and 4 eggs. Fresh eggs matter so much in baking. Fresh eggs have stronger protein structure, which means that they can trap more air as you beat them. And that air later turns into softness in the cake. This is one of the reasons why eggs matter so much in the cake and why it makes the cake itself so delicate. Now I'm adding 200 grams of sugar. We are going to beat the eggs and the sugar together for about 5 to 7 minutes, not just to mix them together, but to create a stable base for our cake. Our goal is to completely dissolve the sugar. Sugar here is not only about sweetness, it also affects texture, moisture, and structure. If sugar doesn't dissolve properly, the cake can feel grainy or heavy. But when it's fully incorporated, the butter becomes smooth and bakes evenly, which is exactly what we want. Now that the mixture looks pale and fluffy, I'm adding 110 grams of sour cream. As always, all the exact measurements in the US and European units are in the description of this video. Sour cream is very common in Russian style cakes, and here's why. It adds moisture and richness, but it also adds a slight acidity that keeps cake soft instead of dry. That acidity works gently with baking powder later, and this combo helps the cake rise evenly without becoming crumbly. I mix it until smooth. Sour cream gives cakes a very specific homemade texture. It's not airy like sponge cake and not dense like pound cake. It's something in between, soft and tender. And now I'm adding the dry ingredients, which are 220 grams of flour and 10 grams of baking powder. Baking powder is what makes the cake rise. At the same time, once the flour goes in, it's important not to overmix it, because mixing too much develops gluten, and gluten makes baked goods chewy, which is great for bread, but not for the soft cake like this. So when you gently fold everything together and not mix with a mixer like me, I forgot about that part. You will pour it into a 21 centimeter pan that you slightly have to grease. The cake goes into oven for 338 degrees Fahrenheit. I always pronounce it wrong and I said Fahrenheit. Anyway, you have to put the cake in the oven for about 40 minutes. Baking time is important here because underbaking leaves the center heavy and raw, while overbaking dries the cake out. This is one of those moments where it's better to trust the process and not rush. When the cake itself is almost done, we are going to make the syrup using 300 grams of caramelized sweetened condensed milk, 300 milliliters of regular milk, and 200 milliliters of heavy cream. I'm warming everything gently until it becomes smooth and fully combined, making sure it doesn't boil because boiling dairy can ruin the texture itself and make it feel grainy instead of silky. Did you know that sweetened condensed milk was originally created as a way to preserve regular milk without refrigeration, and over time people discovered that when it's heated longer, the sugars caramelize and the flavor becomes better, warmer and more complex. That's how it went from a practical ingredient to something people associate with comfort and homemade desserts. And also, caramel flavors changed over time. What was once considered too bitter became better once people learned how to control heat, and that balance is what we need in our syrup. Once the syrup is well mixed, it's done. You can turn off the heat. The cake is ready now. Let's see. Oh my god, it looks so pretty. Look at this. I let it rest for 5 to 7 minutes. Then you take a skewer, if that's how you pronounce it, and make lots of holes in it. These holes are important because they will allow the syrup to come inside of the cake and soak deep into the cake instead of staying just on top. And now it's time to pour out the syrup over the warm cake and let it slowly soak in. It's a lot of syrup, but it will be okay. Now let's make the ganache. And for that we again need sweetened condensed milk and heavy cream. First of all, we have to take 200 grams of sweetened condensed milk and boil it. And after that we are going to add the cream, but first let's somehow boil it. And now let's add heavy cream. Mix everything together until smooth. That's it. Let's spread the ganache over cake. And now use toasted almonds to decorate it. Just like this. To toast almonds properly, I place them in a dry pan over medium heat and stir constantly, watching closely until they turn lightly golden. Once they reach that point, I take them off the heat and let them cool slightly. The almonds add crunch and balance the sweetness. This is how it looks like. The cake is finished. It looks very yummy, but the last part is the most boring one because we have to let it rest for 2 hours just to let everything that is on top sink in the cake. You can easily adjust this cake to your taste. If you want something fresher on the top, not just almonds, you can add some berries like strawberries, raspberries, or even cherries, and it's gonna work beautifully here. But you still have to wait for 2 hours. Don't think it's gonna change anything. So let's wait and the transition. Thank you so much for watching this video and cooking with me today. If you like the recipe, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this. You can also share this video with someone who likes homemade desserts and homemade food overall. I hope to see you next time at my channel Sunday Spoon. That's it. Bye bye!